having scrapped its first attempt at tendering its fibre broadband rollout due to concerns about so-called price gouging by contractors, NBN Co had another crack at it this week, awarding a big contract for Queensland, New South Wales and the ACT to a Thiess-Siemens joint venture called Silcar. Another $400 million worth of contracts are expected to be awarded in the coming days. I spoke to NBN Co's Head of Corporate Services and Acting CEO, Kevin Brown, about the battle to keep costs under control. Kevin Brown, perhaps you could start by explaining what happened in March that led you to cancel all negotiations with contractors on April Fool's Day.
What we discovered was that the price for risk and the price for doing the work was simply too high, and we took the difficult decision, we took it very carefully after a lot of discussion, to suspend that process, because our view was that we weren't going to get to a fair price, and the only way to achieve that was to sit down opposite a credible company and work through the detail, which is what we've done.
So is the key difference that you're taking on more risk, or have you just beaten them down on price?
Well, there's four things. Prices have reduced, and we're very pleased with that. We've also had a discussion about who should carry which risk in this project, and the example I use is the provision of Telstra infrastructure, and we're hoping, intending and planning on reaching an agreement with Telstra, hopefully soon. And as part of that agreement, they'll provide us with a lot of infrastructure. And what we found was that the Silcar team had expected to manage that process and pay for it if it wasn't up to scratch. And we've said, leave that with us. In a sense, we don't want to pay for it twice. We don't want to pay Telstra and then pay Silcar both to manage that agreement or fix it. It's much more useful for us to both manage it and pay for it. Equally with the power poles. So as we work the aerial deployment of this, we'll reach the agreements with the power companies and we'll manage those relationships if they fail to deliver on time. And so we've taken that back on our side of the ledger. On their side of the ledger, but once we design the network, and that takes a couple of months for each FSAM, which is a fibre serving area module, about 3,000 houses. So they work on doing the detailed design. We stamp that off, and at that stage it's got a price, and the risk moves to them to both deliver it, and deliver it on time, and deliver it at the price. And we don't carry that risk. That's their risk to carry.
Has the fact that you're now taking on all the risk associated with the Telstra facilities complicated the negotiations with Telstra?
No, because we've been in intense, detailed, and again, robust negotiations with them for what seems a very long period of time, being 9 months. And so we're aware of that. We're not willing to comment on that at this time. We're very comfortable with the agreement. When we reach agreement with Telstra, we'll be explaining to the world how that works.
Well, when do you think that'll be?
Hours, days, weeks.
Hours? Could it be hours?
Days, weeks.
Well, more like days or weeks?
Well, some days it feels like weeks.
Well, Silcar won't be just laying fibre up the streets. They'll be going into people's gardens to put it against their walls. What are their writing instructions for dealing with people's gardens?
Be careful of the gnomes.
No, seriously.
We've said to them there's a variety of techniques to get across people's front yards, and again I'd note that within the Telstra agreement we're proposing to purchase a large number of conduits that run really from the edge of the footpath up to people's houses. So that's the first thing. The second thing is where they're not currently present, we have a set of protocols with them as to how to do that job, and there are a number of different techniques.
What happens if someone says, no, they don't want it, go away?
Well, what we're saying to the community is, if you don't want, for free, a fibre connection to your house, we won't hook your house up. We'll go down the street and we'll go to the next house and let them choose.
Right, but what if someone says no and then changes their mind? Is it too late or what?
We've yet to announce our position on that. Clearly it's a question we've pondered at length. We're going to try and encourage people to see the benefits of a free connection to your house.
Yes, but it is possible, isn't it, that some people will say they don't want you to come into their garden to lay the fibre. Is that it for them? Are they out of the game permanently?
Clearly it's better for us to do it all at once. We will, without doubt, reach a point in time where we say to people, if you've opted out now, in future you'll pay for it. We haven't got to that point yet.
In America at the moment, there's a massive explosion in movie downloads through Netflix and TV shows through Hulu, much more than we've seen in Australia so far. Have you modelled what happens to NBN's volumes and profits if Australia eventually follows the United States with the same sort of ramp up in movie downloads?
Yes, we have. And we've taken what some have accused us of having is a very conservative position on revenue. But if you follow the curve of the last 2 years in terms of demand growth, videos downloaded, video conferencing, iPads coming online into the house so that you don't pay the 3G phone bill, all of those sorts of things, we are of the view that there is enormous upside to the revenue curve.
Right, but can you give us a sense of what your profits and volumes look like if Australia follows America in relation to movie downloads?
There is an upside to the plan, and I'm not going to talk about that yet. It's a little too early to declare that. Our focus is in getting the network now underway. It will take us 18 months to get into scale production. In other words, it'll take us 18 months to get into full production mode where we're building at maximum capacity. And really at that point in time we'll get better data that will say, here's really what people are willing to pay for and want. At the heart of the assumption for NBN is the world will increase to digitise and people will want more of it.
Thanks very much, Kevin Brown.
Thanks, Alan. Bye.